If you're a follower of this channel, you know that I think pose is the most important thing in a statue like this. You may also know that this Apocalypse statue from XM Studios, I absolutely hated the pose when it was revealed. But I have to give XM Studios some props. At least the pose is original. Awkward. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. Today we are looking at Apocalypse, the first mutant. So if you're unfamiliar, Apocalypse is a Marvel character who is generally a villain. And when I say generally, he actually believes in good. He actually thinks it's just okay to kill people to achieve what he thinks is good. Usually he is an enemy of the X-Men. See behind me. I love X-Men statues. Now this statue is made by XM Studios, no relation to X-Men, who I have probably about 30 or 40 pieces from. And when they first revealed this, I loved absolutely everything about it except the pose. I am still not digging the pose in front of me. However, it was recently released, and Cosmic Chase Collectibles, who I'm going to talk about later, did an awesome job of getting me one. Because I think other than the pose, everything else